Hey, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode here at Mike's Mods and Customs. This one's titled a little different. Benefits of attending a plastic model car show. Whether it be a full-blown out competition show or just an N&L style show where you're just hanging out. There's so many benefits to a show other than the awards, right? Because really, the awards are just a bonus, I suppose. But there's a lot of other reasons we go to the shows, right? So I'm going to get started with a couple of local flyers I have here that I've picked up some other local shows. Sunday, November 2nd, Baycon in Franklin, Massachusetts. That's a yearly show. Small show. Here in New York, the Fulton Model Car Show. It's an exclusive car show, automotive based only. That is coming up November 22nd. I'll try to put a picture of the flyer. I don't have it with me. I'll try to put a picture on the flyer right here. Take a look. It's a good show. It's a little bit of a ride if you're not from the New York area, but it's a great little show. Coming up in March, we got ValleyCon in Chicopee, Massachusetts. Yes, it's an IPMS-based show. They have multiple different categories, but again, it's an annual show. Excellent show to go to. Then coming up in April of 2026, this one here I have not been to, but I hear it's a great show to check out. It's hosted by the Southern Maine Scale Modelers, Down East Con, happening in Maine. So that's a fantastic show to go to. It's an IPMS-based show. Because there's another one I don't have a flyer here for. That's here in New York. It's called the Spring Thaw Show. The Spring Thaw is another automotive-based show, strictly automotive, not IPMS related at all. I'll get the flyers right here. Take a look at that. Jumping ahead, next year, many of you have heard of it, I'm sure, the Classic Plastic Show. How I've spent all my life in Massachusetts, except for the last 3 years, I'd never heard of this show until I moved to New York. Go figure. But anyways, I've been 2 years in a row now. This show right here, it'll be my third year. Great show. Maybe this time I'll bring some cars to put on the table. I haven't done so yet, but that's another one. So those are the shows that I happen to have flyers for right here. The point of my topic today: benefits of going to a car show, right? Plastic model car show. The competition's okay. I personally don't care for it. I think the awards bring a totally different level of attitude from everybody. If you could just do away with awards and just have a 100% strictly N&L style show with no awards. N&L shows have awards, but nothing. Just have the poker chips that we hand out, fellow model builders congratulating other model builders with their builds by putting a little poker chip next to their model. That should be all there is. That's one part of it, right? The next best part about it is the vendors, right? The vendors are phenomenal. You're looking for old kits, new kits, the holy grail, you're going to find it. You need bits and pieces and parts and whatever for a scratch build project you're working on, you'll find it at a show, in the vendor show. Every show has a different genre of major vendors depending on the show itself. For example, if it's an automotive-based show, you're going to have primarily all automotive-based vendors. If it's a IPMS show, for example, and they happen to be very heavy in figures, well, they're probably going to have a lot of figure vendors there, right? So it depends on the show, on what you're going to have for vendors. Point in case, the show I'm going to this weekend, Baycon, is a very heavy military club. So there's not going to be a lot of automotive-based vendors. It's going to be mostly all military-based vendors, which is fine. That's okay. At the same time, the show tables show that, which is one of the reasons why I'm going with 4 or 5 different kind of models to help build up the automotive categories. because the military-based show has heavy militaries on the models, right? On the shows, on the tables. So we bring more cars to show that there's a presence of more car modelers than some of these clubs seem to think. But anyways, the vendors is a very nice bonus. The other bonus going to a plastic model car show could be the raffles. You know, you pay $5 for 10 raffle tickets. You can get yourself some pretty good models to bring home through the raffles. I've done it, and there's been some stuff on the raffle tables that I've won and had absolutely zero interest in. But you know what? There was a kid in that corner that would love to build that helicopter and give him the model. Pass it along. Give the model to another kid. Or it's ready to, you got to leave. They haven't finished all the raffles yet. Give your raffle tickets to a kid that you see walking around. They're going to love it. Kids love the models, especially when they're free. We need more of them to love the models, which is why we need to pass things along in their direction. So the raffles are another plus, right? So we got the competition side of it. We got the vendors. We got the raffles. Number one reasoning for going to a plastic model show is the camaraderie, right? The fellowship, the hanging out with all these people that you only get to see them once a year when you go to that show. Maybe it's a fellow YouTube content creator or some sort. There's somebody you've only met online, and you actually finally get a chance to actually meet that person in person. So that brings me to the reason for this. So I've been working on a model. I've been working on a zombie build, we'll call it, right? Because that's how I entered into the zombie build, group build. It's been a thorn in my side since day one. Pretty much an entire scratch built kind of vehicle. It's a resin cast body of a 63 Corvette Pro Street. And the body came with a chassis that's supposed to fit it. It does not fit. So I've had to shrink the chassis down to make it fit up underneath the body. And now as I'm working on progressing with the chassis and the wheels and the suspension, nothing is working right. Nothing is going together. I've taken it out of the box and put it back in the box a dozen times in the last 2 years. Yes, 2 years I've been trying to work on this thing. If the body's situated and comfortable where I'm happy with it, it's the chassis that's been fighting me. So through these avenues and connections of all this lovely connection we have with the internet and YouTube and all this, I reached out to a couple of people that I've come to know. Tim Ryan, awesome builder. Jason Hanscom, excellent builder. Jody Doyle, fantastic scratch builder. So I reached out to Jody first, asked him if he was going to be attending a local show that I was going to, Granite Con in New Hampshire. He said yes, he's going to be there. So I asked him if he would mind taking an opportunity to take a look at a model kit for me that I've been working on and struggling with to get his feedback and his information, his tips of what to do going forward. Did the same thing with Tim Ryan. I asked Tim to join in on us with that, to get their input. I wanted to get different people's inputs on what I should do with this model to get it to the next level. So fast forward to the day of the Granite Con show. We're all hanging out, walking around. Finally, we all have a minute. And Tim was tied up and busy, but Jody and Jason and myself, we all went into another room, sat down at a table, and I showed Jody the model I've been working on. And him and Jason both looked at it, and they loved the body work. The body came out great. That's not my issue. The issue is the chassis. They both looked at it and questioned, why is this chassis up underneath this car? Not something that belongs there. I agreed, because I've been fighting with it for 2 years. But they both had some very, very good insight, awesome suggestions. Jody even knew exactly what kit I needed to buy to get the exact chassis, not exact, to get the right chassis that should fit up underneath that car. It's going to give me the front suspension, the rear suspension, and the main chassis. And I have to do some modifications to the main chassis. It's going to be a little bit too long, but it should fit up underneath the car just fine once I get it to the right wheelbase. They both looked it over and gave their suggestions. The engine was another issue, where the engine that comes in this said kit that Jody recommended the engine in itself is not going to fit under the body. So I'll need to do something there. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But let me show you a little bit what I'm talking about. Hold on. So this is the car. 63 Pro Street Corvette. So that's the car that we're working with. Okay. This is the chassis that the guy that casted this body sold me, this chassis. It's supposed to work underneath this car. Which, okay, maybe we could make that work. Which is what I've been fighting with for the last year and a half, 2 years. It was too long. I had to shorten it here. So I've already had to bring this down. Didn't have a front end, didn't have a rear end. I've gone through a couple of different rear ends, and yeah, they haven't worked. This is a front end setup from Iceman Collections with an airbag suspension system that I grafted onto here to make that work. So that was going okay. But what I'm going to be doing to go forward, again, thanks to Jody and Jason, I'm hoping that this is going to be much easier going forward because we now have this car. So the chassis setup underneath this body should fit perfectly underneath that Corvette once I shorten the wheelbase a little bit. And what's even nicer, of course, I've opened it and I've done some research and digging already. I should have had this open and ready to go. But check it out. I don't even have to build the chassis. It's done. So I just have to look at this. I'm going to go ahead and get the rear differential assembled on it and some front suspension so I can have a wheelbase. And then I'll decide on here with Jody and Jason's recommendations both. I'll probably make that change right here because this seems to be the straightest and the least amount of structure bracing. If I have to cut this, I'll probably do it right in here, and I'll take out some of these straight pieces and then just shrink it up to be what I need it to be. But within this kit, I'll have what I need. That, to me, is the #1 reason and the #1 benefit of going to a plastic model car show. Don't be afraid to reach out to these people that you think may be superior builders above you. Because let me tell you, you're missing something if you don't take the opportunity to ask the questions. You'll never get anything done that's struggling without continuing to struggle if you don't ask questions, right? So you can't be afraid to ask these guys that are much better than you in your eyes. Ask them for help. Jody, Tim, and Jason, all three of them were more than willing to sit down with me and help me out with that. Tim took a look at it prior to us sitting down, and Tim pretty much basically said, you need to talk to Jody. And that's what we did. We did it. We sat down and talked to him. So no matter where you are on the build spectrum, as far as your quality and level, I consider myself to be way down here. I consider Jody Doyle, Tim, and Jason, and those guys to be way up here. You know, don't hesitate to ask a question because you'll get the answers that you need. So there it is. My #1 reason and benefit to going to any of the plastic model car shows is the people that are there. And if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask them because they'll be more than willing to help you out. And with that said, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your model show season, whether it's just ending or if you're just getting started. I know ours here in the Northeast is starting to wind down. I got one show coming up, November 2nd. We have another one the end of November, but then there's a break for the holidays. We're not going to get shows back in until after the first of the year. So anyways, thanks for hanging out here with me. Thanks for listening to me blab a little bit. I don't normally blab along, but I thought it was important to share this little story with you. So keep your eyes out in the future for a video of that 63 Corvette finally getting finished. I hope. Thanks for hanging out here with me for another episode of Mike's Miles and Customs. Till the next time, we'll see you on the next one.